Hello and welcome to our podcast, What's in this week's Oban Times, or as we like to call it, Witwat, with me, Jodie Hagan.
Me, Sandy Neal.
And me, Owen Wild.
Now, as always, we have lots of interesting news stories for you, and it is that time of the week when we give you a little insight into the articles we have been busy working on. You can read all about them in this week's paper and on www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. We love hearing your stories and seeing your photographs, so please do get in touch by emailing editor@obantimes.co.uk, calling us on 01631 568 000, or getting in touch on our social platforms, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. So Sandy, you were away reporting in the distant land of Arran last week, but we're glad to have you back here in Witwat HQ. So what do you have for us this week?
Thank you very much, Jodie. Well, Argyll and Bute councillors have voted for a shocking 9.9% increase in council tax, as well as a 22% rise in pay in a tough budget for the next financial year. A visitor levy in its current form would be a tax on island life, says Tiree Community Council. Dura Primary School has been thrown a lifeline after a much-welcomed intervention from Highland Council. And the world's first Gaelic Makaton choir, based in Oban, is looking for bookings for 2025 and can come to sing for you. Jodie, back to you.
Thanks for that, Sandy. And Owen, what have you been looking into this week?
Thank you, Jodie. Well, an important reminder that Argyll and Bute Council has just introduced its new pavement parking ban. Having any wheels on the pavement or in front of a dropped curb will now result in a £100 fine. We discussed the implications in this week's paper. Oban's new Dove Centre has finally opened this week. The new centre, just over the road from the old one, is bigger, better, and ready to serve the community. For a full video tour of the facility, go to www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. And in big news, the decision on the Mull campus is just days away. As councillors prepare for a special meeting on Friday, we've looked ahead at what to expect. Finally, from me, a fun one. Have you guys ever found a message in a bottle?
Yeah, I did, weirdly.
Really?
Really?
I did once. Yeah, exactly.
And what was inside?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I can't remember. I'll come back to you. But it's not as exciting as this one.
No, but it's rare to find one. They're very rare to find after all. So what are the odds that one was discovered all the way down in Australia, written by a group of local sailors in the late 1800s? Here's the thing, though. The bottle was actually found way back in 1925, 100 years ago, and its existence has only just been rediscovered by Australian historians. Do you think that one of your ancestors could have been one of the authors? Read the full story to find out.
Well, that is a really interesting one. And for me this week, there has been a temporary cut to Oban Library's opening hours, which Liv Argyll says is down to resourcing issues. The significant reduction will see the library only open for 3 days a week, and you can read more about that in this week's OT and online. In other news, are you brave enough to take on a Viking sailing challenge from Denmark to Oban this summer? Well, if you fancy experiencing life out at sea, you can find out more about that opportunity in the paper this week. 3 community groups have received welcome cash boosts thanks to Tesco Oban, and in other news, Food From Argyll has thanked one of its founders for her dedication as she steps down after 18 years championing local producers. You can read about that in this week's Argyllshire Advertiser. Well, that's all from us this week, but there is a lot more to discover in the paper and online at www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. Tune in again next week to keep up with what's going on, but for now it's goodbye from me, Jodie Hagan.
Goodbye from me, Sandy Neal.
And goodbye from me, Owen Wild.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, hey.